In this second part, we're going to continue on our website that we started, and we're going to add some text at the top, which will be our logo, a telephone number, a menu bar, some more text at this bottom area, a little contact form, and some hyperlinks in the footer. All the elements that we're going to add, we want to make them appear on every page that is linked to this master page. So we're going to make sure that everything we're doing is on master page A. So if you just double click it, you should just get the little eye icon, and then everything we do here will be linked to every page that's associated with master page A. So let's get started. I'm just going to zoom in, and from the toolbar I'm going to go with the creative frame tool. Now I'm going for this one instead of the HTML because I'm going to apply some effects to it. The HTML text frame tool won't allow me to do that, but the creative frame tool will. So I'm just going to draw out a rectangle. I'm just going to put in the site name, and I want the font to be Verdana, which is fine, and the size to be 30. I also want it to be bold and white. I'm just going to move it down just a bit, and I'm just going to resize this frame so that it fits very tightly. Okay, I'm going to apply some effects by right click, filter effects. I'm going to add a drop shadow. I'm going to make the opacity 40 is fine, the blur I want to be 4, and the distance I also want to be 4. So going to add a reflection. I want the height to be 40, and the opacity 50 is fine, and everything else is fine. So I'm just going to click OK. And that's just our very quick and easy logo. It looks quite effective. And I'm just going to click on it, and I'm going to hold down the control key, and I'm also going to hold down the shift key. The control key makes a duplicate, and the shift key will lock it into the horizontal plane so that I can move it to the right and it won't go up or down. Okay. Again, now I'm just going to move it with just the shift key. I've taken it right up to that margin. I'm just going to expand it and put in the telephone number. Okay, now for this I don't want reflection because that's where our menu will go, and I think it will get too crowded. I'm just going to right click, filter effects, and uncheck reflection. Okay, so those two elements are done. Now I want to add the menu. Before I do that, I really need to have some pages, otherwise it will just be the one tab. So in our pages site, pages panel, I need to make some clones or some new pages. I don't have enough space, so I'm just going to, I'm just going to resize this one. I'm just going to add a new page, and the page name is what you see in the browser title when it launches. So I'm just going to make that about. The file name will be the actual name of the HTML page. That's also going to be about. It's important to make sure you use lower caps because it is case sensitive, and it's important to make sure include in navigation is checked. It will by default be on. So I'm just going to click OK there. I'm going to create a new one. This will be called Contact. And then just one more. This will be called Terms and Conditions. Now for this one, I don't want the terms and conditions to be in the menu bar, so I'm going to uncheck Include in Navigation. And I'm just going to click OK. Now you'll notice in the tree that they all have a tick except the one that we just hid from the navigation. Okay, now that we've finished adding our pages, it's important to remember that the I or the active page is the terms and conditions page, so everything we add to the page now will just apply to this page. So we need to go back to selecting our master page A. To add the navigation on the toolbar, we will go to Insert Navigation Bar. And in WebPlus X5 there's a whole range of pre-built navigation bars that you can use. There's literally tons of them, or you can create your own one, or you can just modify one that's already available. I'm just going to look for block 5, and we're just going to modify this one a bit. Okay, so navigation type is fine based on site structure, and appearance is where we'll be making most of the changes from. So the first things that I want to make sure are highlighted is the highlight current page and make all buttons the same width. Now I'm just going to go to the single button and edit that, and this will take us into the menu Design Studio, which wasn't available in WebPlus X4 but is in X5, and from here we're just going to make some changes to the way that that menu looked, and we'll be changing the background, the normal state, the down when you press it, and the hover, and also to the disabled state as well. So first we want to change the common background for all of them. We don't want this grey line here, so I'm just going to delete that. As you can see, it's gone from all of them, and there's already a quick rectangle there. I'm just going to move that to cover the whole space. Next I'm going to go to the normal one. I'm going to click and change the text, and it's important to note that if you just change the text while this is highlighted, it will affect all of the text for all of the states, and when you uncheck it, it will affect just that state. So I want them all to be a height of about 24. So in the bottom right, transform panel, height 24, and you can see it's which ones it's affected. I also want them all, using the align panel in the bottom right, to be a center vertically. And for the normal, I don't want it to be grey, and I will be changing some of them individually. So I'm going to uncheck. I don't want it to be grey, I want it to be blue, so I'm just going to go to the color and change to our scheme blue, and you can see that's changed it to blue. We're just going to move on to the down on the hover, and we're just going to change those. So again, I'm just highlighting that, transform height 24, make sure it's centered vertically. I don't want this here. I'm just going to do the same for this one as well. Oops. Transform height 24. Okay. Now, I don't want this to be a white background, so I'm just going to go to the background and copy this. So I'm just pressing Ctrl C, going to down and pressing Ctrl Alt V. This is paste in place, so it will go back in exactly the same place. I'm just going to put a gradient there, so right click, format, fill, type gradient, and I'm just going to go for one of the top to bottoms, edit. I'm just going to delete these two nodes. The first one I want to be our blue, the last one I want to be the white, and OK, and OK. Here I don't want it to be blue, but I only want it to affect the down and hover, so I'm just going to uncheck change all text and make it white. Just going to copy this background, Ctrl Alt V to paste it there, and again just make this one white as well for the disabled. Just going to make that 24, align center vertically, deleting the background that's there, and I'm pressing Ctrl Alt V to paste the background from the hover, but I'm going to change this. I'm just going to right click, format, fill, and edit this gradient. I now want the blue to be our grey. Okay, so we've changed all the hover states, we've changed the down state, and we've also changed all of the other ones just through those quick little steps. If you want, you can make it bold, or you can make it italic. I'm just going to stick with it the way it is and see how it looks. So I'm just going to commit those changes and just preview them here, and I'm quite happy with that, so I'm just going to click OK. Then we'll just paste it onto your page. You can just tweak it about a bit, so I'm just going to move it just there. Oops, just going to move. So there we go. Okay, so I'm just going to zoom in and make sure it's nice and flush. I'm just using the right arrow key on my keyboard just to nudge it to where I exactly want it. And anything else that you think just needs a little nudge, just go ahead and do that. Just zooming back out. I'm just going to press Ctrl Shift and 1 just to preview that. Ctrl Shift 1 previews the whole site instead of just the page. So there it is, and there's our normal state, there's our hover state, and our click state or the down state is exactly the same. You can tell it's changing pages. If you look up here, it says index and it says about and then it says contact, and we're back to home. Now, one other key navigation thing I like to do is to make the logo always go back to the home page. So I'm just going to right click on the logo, go to hyperlink, site page, index, and click OK. Now you'll notice that if you just do that, it will try to apply its own formatting. So I'm just going to go back to hyperlink, and where it says other properties, style, text style formatting, I'm just going to go with no hyperlink formatting and just click OK. So that's something that's really important to remember, because sometimes you can get caught out if you don't remember and it just changes the color. Okay, so now I'm just going to add some text at the bottom, and this time I'm going to use the HTML text frame. I'm going to have 3 columns of text. I'm just going to use a line just to truncate it, and I want that line to be 250 pixels wide, and I want it, to be 890 high. Well, not high, but start at 0.890. I'm just going to move this just so it lands nicely on it. Okay. I'm just going to add some text beneath that as well. This can be any text that you need. It doesn't necessarily have to be what I'm writing, but whatever's suitable for your website will be fine. I'm just going to make that bold and change it to size 9. Don't want that to be bold. Now what you sometimes notice is that there's too much of a gap between the first line and this line, so the paragraphing spacing is quite large there. So what I'm just going to do is just highlight that, go to text, paragraph, and then under alignment and spacing, where it says after 9 points, I'm just going to set it to 0 and click OK. I'm happy with that. I'm just going to make this just a little bit, yeah, that's fine. And I'm just holding down Control, and I'm just going to duplicate that and just duplicate that again. And I'm just going to, it's just moved off a bit. I'm just going to duplicate that block, entire block, by holding down Control and I'm holding Shift just so that it stays horizontal. And I'm going to call this one Get Social. And this can be anything, so I'm just going to copy this down to the next one. And actually I don't need that one. I'm just going to copy that, and I'm going to copy that again, holding down Control and Shift. I'm just going to move it to about there. And this time I'm going to call this Follow Us. And from the gallery panel, I'm just going to choose the icon sets, and I'm going to go with a button. I'm just going to drag some of these social icons across. That can just go there for Twitter, there for Facebook, and I'm just going to go with this one. I don't know what this one means, but anyway. And then the RSS feed. Just to make sure they're nice and evenly spaced, I'm just going to select them all. From the align panel in the bottom right, I'm just going to hit space evenly across. Now you can just right click hyperlink and then just use internet page and then paste in the address of either your Twitter page, your Facebook, or your blog, or whatever. If you're using the RSS icon, we'll talk about that a bit later, but you would just use the RSS feed and then you can just put that in there, or you can create your own RSS feed, but we'll talk about that a little bit later in another tutorial. So just zooming back out, and that's the text columns done. So now I'm just going to add a contact form to the right side. So the first thing I'm going to do is just hold down shift and select that, and select the line as well. Hold down control, move to the right. I'm just holding shift also so that it doesn't move. Just going to give that a title. I'm going to go to the toolbar and form wizard, and I'm going to use and adapt a standard form. Next, the first one is fine, name, email address, comments. Next, that's fine. Next, and here it's asking me how I want the form to be submitted. So would I be using Serif Web Resources, Serif's facility for sending the data to my email, or would I be using a script from my hard drive or a remote script? In this instance, I'm just going to go with no action, and that's pretty much the standard form. You can use it like that, it'll be fine. I'm just going to press Alt 1 just to preview that for you. And that's what that bottom area looks like at the moment. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to change this form just a little bit, just so that it looks a little bit more stylish from my point of view. Just going to zoom in. I'm going to get rid of that label. Get rid of the submit button and the reset button. Just going to move all three of those to the left, just there. So you just have to do it one at a time, and just resize it right to the end. From the toolbar, from the insert navigation bar, which is normally what shows here, I'm just going to choose insert button. I'm just going to choose a better button. That one looks nice. Yeah, I'll go with that one. And I'm just going to set the action to submit form and click OK. And I'm just going to paste it just right up close, actually just a little bit further down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure these boxes all have prompts, and I'm going to do that using the attach HTML facility. So the first thing I need to do is to put in a value that will show once the form is initially shown. So I'm just going to go to edit form box. Here I'm just going to type in your full name. At this point I'm also going to set the validation, and it's already checked, so please give your name, so that's fine. I'm going to click OK, right click and attach HTML, and I'm just going to add some code. I'm just copying it from the notepad, just going to paste it in there. So what this code, and I will put this in the more info box either at the bottom or to the right, and what it just says is that the value is your full name. If somebody clicks away from the box, then make it empty. If somebody clicks on the box, so if somebody clicks away from the box, make it say your full name. If someone clicks on the box, then get rid of the prompt. When I run it, it'll make sense. And I'm just going to click OK. For the second one, again, I'm just going to change the initial value, and this time I will make it the email address. Again, let's just check the validation. From the form wizard, if you just choose one of the standard ones and customize it, it will already have the validation worked in. Otherwise, you can just check it yourself. Sorry, add it yourself. I'm just going to click OK, right click, attach HTML. Again, exactly the same code. the only difference will be that the value that it will be showing will be the request for the email address rather than the name. So again, same thing, and I will put that in the more info box as well. For the last one, exactly the same thing, except this time it's edit form text area. I want the initial value to be how may I help you. Again, it needs to be required, and that's the message the person will get if they fail to fill it in. Click OK, right click, attach HTML, and we're just going to put in a similar code. Okay, I'm just going to zoom out and preview that. So your full name, email address, how may I help you, and if someone clicks on it, disappears. Okay, now although this looks good, I don't like the way that that font is slightly different from the others, and I think it looks a little bit plain, so I'm just going to jazz it up. I also noticed that here it's just overlapping, so I'm just going to nudge that down as well. There are many ways to change the style of a dialog box, so we have a field, and this is one way to do it. And in the contact page, I'll show you another way to do it. Just going to right click, go to attach HTML, and just before the tag style, I'm just going to add some code. It's very simple once you see it, what it's going to be doing. Okay, so what I'm saying is make the background color the gray that we used for our scheme color, which was DA. Make the font Arial and make the font size 12 pixels. I'm going to use that for all of the fields. So email address, same thing. And I'm just going to nudge this down a bit. I'm just going to preview that now. You can see how that looks so much more better. The font here matches, and it also, because of the grey, it now looks like it's inset, sort of engraved in. So I'm quite happy with that, and I'm just going to do the final thing for this video. And one thing I've noticed now is that this block isn't in the center. There's too much space here and not enough there. So I'm just going to select everything, and just by eye, I'm just going to move it to the center. Okay, and the last thing I'm going to do is just add some footer information. I'm just going to draw a line, straight line tool, all the way across. I'm holding down shift so that it goes perfectly straight, and using the HTML text frame tool, I'm just going to add some text to the left side. I'm just going to hold down Control and drag that to the right side, and just add 2 hyperlinks. I'm just going to press Control K to bring up the hyperlink dialog box, site page, terms. I don't want any formatting, no hyperlink formatting. Okay, and then with the contact, exactly the same thing except the contact page. I'm just going to resize that. I'm going to highlight them all, group them, and then right click, arrange, and attach to bottom of page. That means no matter how big or how tall or short the pages will be, that group of text boxes and line will always be at the bottom, and that will be true for all of the pages linked to that master page. So I'm just going to zoom out now, and I'm just going to press Control Shift 1 to preview that, and let's see how it looks. Okay, and there it is. Nice header at the top, nice menu, nice text, nice box. I like that roll over there, it goes to green, which is quite unexpected. And then you've got the footer information at the bottom and the links to the terms on the contacts page, and you've got your social network links there. So what we're going to do is we'll just continue working on this site. We'll add content, we'll add more content to the about page, we'll add a contact form, and we'll build it up, and then we'll look at some of the more advanced features that WebPlus has to offer. And that next part will be out within 1 to 2 days.